Okay, so last time we read the prologue and the river in Kindred, and today we're going to start reading the chapter called The Fire. I'm only going to read about half of this chapter and then stop at a certain point. But we're going to start with a little review of the prologue and the main characters in this book so far. Yeah, share screen. Okay, so here is the fire. Now, before we go forward with that, I just want to review where we left off with Dana and Kevin. So we last saw Dana and Kevin, they had moved to their new home. It was June 9th, 1976, Dana's 26th birthday. And so they're just unpacking, her and Kevin, in their new home when Dana disappeared. And so she was brought to this river. She doesn't know where she was, in what state, in what time period. And so she was brought to this river where she saved this little boy, Rufus, who at the time was maybe around 5 or 6 years old. But then the mother got mad at her for saving her son. And then we left off with this particularly scary image of there's a gun to Dana's head, and then all of a sudden she was back in the living room with her husband Kevin, and she was safe, but she was really scared about what happened. She didn't know what happened to her. So that's where we left off. Okay, so we're going to begin the chapter, The Fire. Okay. I tried, but Rufus and his parents didn't settle back and become the dream Kevin wanted them to be. They haunted me from the second I came back. So, what is the image we're looking at here? It looks, I think, like Dana's jacket or the shirt she was wearing when she went to the river, because it still kind of has the mud and the stains on it. What if I get dizzy again? What if I fall and crack my skull on the tile? Or go back to that river, naked, vulnerable, surrounded by strangers? Forget about any more unpacking today. Let's go get something to eat. Go? Yes, someplace nice for your birthday. I don't want to go anywhere. Why not? Let's go tomorrow. It would be good for you to get out of here for a while. Okay, so why doesn't Dana want to leave the house? No, she really doesn't want to leave the house. I'd like to place an order for delivery. Okay, so they get some delivery food to the house. They're eating. Feeling any better? A bit. Dana? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dana! Ooh, what are we looking at here? Do you see the chair that she was sitting on having dinner? And then she's just disappeared? Again, notice what happens to the color. It goes from this kind of like peach, kind of light colors to more vibrant colors. Rufus? Okay, where is she now? What is she seeing? What does it look like? Does she look like she's in a bedroom? And does that look like the boy she saved from the river? And what is he holding? Oh, fire. Fire on the curtains. Oop, he's like, oh man, yikes. Okay, what does Dana do? Looks like she takes the curtains and she throws them out the window because they're on fire. I could see the draperies a story below, lighting the night only enough for us to see that they were on the ground, burning some distance from the nearest wall. Okay, draperies. What's another word for draperies? Curtains. My hasty act had done no harm. I could go home knowing that I had averted trouble for the second time. My first trip ended as soon as the boy was safe, just in time to keep me safe. But now, I didn't feel dizzy. The room remained unblurred, undeniably real. What would happen if I didn't go back automatically this time? What if I was stranded here, wherever here was, with no money and no idea how to get home? Outside the window, there were no city lights, no lights at all. And she's from like kind of like Los Angeles, California area. She's used to city lights and seeing other houses, apartment buildings, cars. There's nothing out here. Someone should use, wait, what happened before this? Uh-oh, what did Rufus do again? Is this fire again for a second time? Someone should use one like this on you before you burn the house down. I regretted the words the moment they were out. I needed his help. Ooh. So Dana took the stick from Rufus, who was setting a fire again, and got mad at him. You lay a hand on me and I'll tell my daddy. Don't worry about your father. You'll have plenty to say to him when he sees those burned draperies. But still, his father could have me jailed or shoot me for breaking into his house. Okay, what does Rufus look like here? Does he look like a happy child or a very angry child? Who are you anyway? What are you doing here? His accent was unmistakably Southern. If I was in the South, I was 2 or 3 thousand miles from home. What's your name? Rufus? I tried not to accept it, in spite of his name, his too familiar face, but the child I had pulled from the river could so easily have grown into this child in 3 or 4 years. So she's noticing some time had passed because when she took Rufus out of the river, he was around 5 or 6 years old. And now, how old does this child look? Maybe 9 or 10? Look, Rufus, look at me. Have you ever seen me before? No. Can you remember a time when you nearly drowned? You were younger, about 5 years old. Do you remember? The river? Drowning. I remember that, and you. I'm not sure if you ever got a look at me. No, I remember you now. I saw you. That's why it seemed like I knew you. I couldn't remember, maybe because of the way I saw you. I told Mom and she said I couldn't have really seen you that way. What way? Well, with my eyes closed. With your eyes closed. It's true. That's the way I saw you after I stepped in the hole. Hole? In the river. I was walking in the water and there was a hole and I fell and then I couldn't find the bottom anymore. I saw you inside a room. I could see part of the room and there were books all around you, more than in Daddy's library. You were wearing pants like a man, the way you are now, and I thought you were a man. But this time you look like a woman wearing pants. Sigh. As long as you recognize me as the one who pulled you out of the river. Did you? I thought you must have been the one. I thought you remembered. I remember. It was like I stopped drowning for a while and saw you, and then Mama was there, and Daddy's gun. Your father almost shot me. He thought you were a man too, that you were trying to hurt Mama and me. Mama says she was telling him not to shoot you, and then you were gone. I asked her where you went, and she got mad, said she didn't know. When I asked her again later, she hit me. She never hits me. Where do you think I went, Rufus? Sigh. You're not going to tell me either. Yes, I am. As best I can, but answer me first. Where do you think I went? Back to the room. The room with the books. Did you see me again? I didn't see you. Am I right? Did you go back there? Yes. Back home to scare my husband. He said I just vanished. How did you get there? How did you get here? I don't know. How I move that way or when it's going to happen, I can't control it. Who can? I didn't want him to get the idea he could control it. I don't know. No one. I disappeared, then reappeared, especially if it turned out he really could. Disappeared? You mean like smoke? Like a ghost? Like smoke, maybe. There are no ghosts. You needed help, and I came to help you. Twice. Does that make me someone to be afraid of? I I guess not. You see, I'm as real as you. I thought you were. All the things you did, you had to be. And Mama said she touched you too. She sure did. The soreness confused me. The woman's attack had come only hours ago, but the boy was years older. Somehow, my travels crossed time as well as distance. Mama said what you did after you got me out of the water was like the second book of Kings. The what? The boy was the focus of my travels, perhaps the cause of them. He had seen me in our living room. He couldn't have made that up, but I had seen nothing. Where Alicia breathed into the dead boy's mouth and the boy came back to life. Mama said she tried to stop you doing that to me because you were just some she had never seen before, but then she remembered Second Kings. She said I was what? Okay, so there is the N word in this story, which I'm not going to say. I'm just going to pause. But you guys can read along with me if you would like. Just a strange. She and Daddy both knew they hadn't seen you before. That was a hell of a thing for her to say right after she saw me save her son's life. Your mother always called Black people Ruth? Sure, except when she has company. Why not? I'm a Black woman, Rufus. You have to call me something other than my name, that's it. But look, I helped you. I put the fire out, didn't I? Yeah? All right. Then you do me the courtesy of calling me what I want to be called. Now, tell me, when the drapery started to burn, did you see me the way you did when you were drowning? I didn't see you until you got here, but I was so scared. Kind of like when I was drowning. I thought the house would burn down and it would be my fault. I burned the stable once. Okay, pause here for a second. I want to kind of review a little bit. Okay, so if I just go back a little bit to when Rufus first used the N word, which I think is over here actually. Okay, so that should be kind of a red flag for many reasons. We're dealing with a book where Dana is time traveling. And so that she doesn't know what year it is yet or where she went, but Rufus saying that so casually should really kind of tell her, uh-oh, okay, what year is it? No, not only where am I, but what year is it? So that's definitely a sign of the times and the time period. So that's a huge red flag. And then we're about to go to, okay, Rufus is going to talk about how he burned down a stable. So what is a stable? It's usually the structure or building where horses live, horses or maybe cows, like a barn, like on a farm. There's barns where cows live and horses live. So he's going to say he burned down a stable. So that's a structure where animals usually live. Okay, so we'll go back here. He said, I burned down the stable once. Okay. I wanted Daddy to give me Nero, a horse I liked, but he sold him to Reverend Wyndham just because Reverend Wyndham offered him a lot of money. Daddy already has a lot of money. Anyway, I got mad and burned down the stable. The boy already knew more about revenge than I did. What kind of man was he going to grow up into? Okay, let's pause here for a second. So Rufus is telling Dana the story of how he said he wanted a horse because he liked it. And his dad, his father, decided to sell the horse instead to make some money. And Rufus was so angry that he didn't get the horse that he wanted that he burned down the stables. So, this entire building structure. So, what does that tell us about Rufus's character? At the age of 9 or 10, that he could get so angry that he burns down a stable. And so that's what Dana is noticing right here when she says, the boy already knew more about revenge than I did. Okay, what is revenge? Maybe we'll explore that. Write that down actually. What kind of man was he going to grow up into? So, yeah, any predictions about what kind of man Rufus is going to be? Okay. Why did you set this fire? To get even with your father for something else? For hitting me. Want to see? For God's sake. Okay, so do you guys see the the marks on Rufus's back, the red marks. So it looks like he was hit with something, maybe a stick or a switch or something. He said I took money from his desk, and I said I didn't. He said I was calling him a liar, and he hit me. I only took $1. Okay, pause there for a second. So who is the liar? Rufus says that he didn't take money when he really did take $1. So his father punished him, but the punishment looks rather extreme, doesn't it? It's something that would definitely not be okay right now in 2020. I thought if I burned the house down, he'd lose all his money. But then I remembered the whipping I got after I set that stable fire. Mama said if she hadn't stopped him, he would have killed me. I wanted to put this fire out, but I couldn't. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So, because he lied to his father about stealing money, his father hit him. So now Rufus, for revenge on his father, decided to try to burn the house down, their entire house. So again, we're seeing glimpses of Rufus's character as well as his father's character. So, what kind of relationship do you think Rufus and his father have? So he had called me. The boy drew me to him somehow when he got himself into more trouble than he could handle. Apparently, he didn't even know he was doing it. Did you say he used a whip on you, Rufus? Yeah, the kind he whips and horses with. The kind he whips who? I wasn't talking about you. I had already accepted the fact that I had moved through time. Okay, so Dana knows that she is not in 1976 anymore. She doesn't know what the year is, but she knows it is definitely not 1976. Your father whips Black people when they need it, Rufus says. What's the date? I don't know. The year. Just tell me the year. It's 1815. When? 1815. Okay, so Dana, has traveled back in time over 100 years, like 150 years, from 1976 all the way to 1815. So, yep, about 150 years, doing years. Is this a plantation? Okay, I'm going to pause there for today. I want to look up plantation. So what is the significance of the year 1815? What's going on in the United States in 1815? And what is a plantation? And what is the significance of Dana being in the South in the United States? So I'm going to give you guys some questions to answer to go along with this, but those are really important, significant dates, locations, time periods, know about going forward. Okay, so I'm going to stop share and talk to you guys later.